Hello, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So today I'm going to be doing a tag. I haven't done one in a while, so I thought it'd be fun to do the book to movie tag. And I selected 5 books. Most are classic, and the others are not classic, but I really enjoy them. So the first one is Terry McMillian Disappearing Act. And the reason why I chose this out of all the Terry McMillian books that she's had to movie is because this is the first book I have ever read from her. So I have like a special like to this book. So I was very pleasantly surprised when they did a good job on the movie that was done for HBO, which starred Sanaa Lathan and Wesley Snipes. And this movie came out in 2000, and I remember watching it and really enjoying it, and really was pleased with the adaptation, because you know how bad adaptation can go. So I loved it, so that's why I chose this out of all the books that she's had. The next one is a classic, and it is called North and South by Elizabeth Gaskett. And I love this book, and I love the British BBC adaptation that they did in 2004. And I love when you can see the differences between the North and South. You know, you have the South as this more laid back. The clothes that they wear was all, you know, satin, and you have the garden scenery and all these things that make it look so like dreamy. And then you go to the north, and it's like this industrial area where everybody work in a factory. People, you see poor people, people who are not well, labor union, and all these things that were going on in the time period in this book. And I love the romance and the unlikable male character, and the romance that blossom in this book. And I think they did a really good job with the BBC version, especially since it was a series. They were able to like really go in depth with the book and not really like cut and slice that they usually do in a lot of the classic books. The next one is also a classic, which is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I am a huge Jane Austen fan. I own all her novels, and including her short stories. And I am seeing quite a few Jane Austen movies. Most are not as great, but I did like the book that the movie that they did for this book with Keira Knightley. I thought they did a really good job. It's not perfect, but I really enjoyed that movie adaptation of this book. The next one is another classic that probably has the most movies. There are so many movies on this book. It's just ridiculous, and majority of them weren't good, but I watched them just because I really love the book, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And Charlotte Bronte is one of the 3 sisters. I don't think she gets as much attention as Emily Bronte for Wuthering Heights, because you know that was another classic movie, book to movie adaptation. But I'm a bigger fan of Charlotte, and I love Jane Eyre, and I've seen a few books I've seen a few movie of this. I just didn't like. I hated 2011 version. I was so excited, went to the movie theater, watched it, and walked out pissed. It seemed like they took the first part of the book and the end and make it into a movie and forgot all about the middle. And so I really love the 2006 PBC version of this, Master Theater version of this. I think it was a really good adaptation of this. If it really went into detail, because it was a series, and you really got to see all of the, you know, the things that you read in the book, and the characters, and how the romance was blossomed. And because if you watch the movie, the one I told you about that's terrible, you get the wrong impression of how the romance blossomed, versus if you saw the miniseries and how they were able to bring alight the book and go into detail of how that, you know, relationship became about, and all the things that the drama behind it, and the things that we didn't get to know, especially of one of the character who had a mental illness, and you really got to know the story behind that, versus like some of the movies where they just cut that out and you just don't understand what was going on. Loved it. And my favorite of all time, can't do any wrong, and that is The Color Purple, and by Alice Walker. And this is, I've read this book a few times, one on my own, and then I had to read it for school, and then I read it again. I don't remember why, but I think about 3 times I read it. But this movie was excellent. And I would say the only thing that they did not really go into depth in the movie was because of the time period. Was there was a bit of a lesbian situation in the book, and it wasn't really extended a lot in the book, but for the time period, they really wasn't going to go into depth in that in the movie. You got an idea of it in the movie, but they didn't really go in depth. And so when I read the book after I saw the movie, and when I was reading the book, I was like, ooh, they didn't really go to that in the book. But then it was just such a minor detail in the book that everything else was just like, okay, no big deal. So I really, really, really enjoyed this as a movie. It's a classic. I probably can recite a lot of the movie because that's how much I loved it. And this book is definitely, you know, an excellent read, and I do recommend everybody read it. And that's the 5 books I want to talk about. There are, of course, other books that I've enjoyed a movie to book adaptation. Book to movie adaptation, but those are the ones that are the more memorable, and the ones I've seen the movie over and over many times. So if you have a favorite book to movie adaptation, leave it in the description bar, and you know, tell me what you loved about it. So anyway, that's about it, and have a good day, and thanks for watching. Bye.